All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Alice Never After, issue number 305 from Boom Studios. What's happening here? A bunch of people that wants to marry the Queen of Hearts, Alice, right? Well, that's exactly what's going to be. What's going to happen? Well, that's going to happen. That's the scenario in here. So this ostrich wants to marry her, and he says, I fly to the moon and back for you. And she says, fly, you're an ostrich. Correct, Sir Ostrich of Yogurt. It was simply a figure of speech, Alice. So he says, yeah, we're starting off poor. But then, I don't know, Lord Tiger, he wants to marry her. And he promised to to never eat her. And he says, she says, I have no intention to marry anyone, right? And then a goldfish called Archduke Gilbert, and he's also named as Alfonso, a goldfish, Archduke of the Tiny Harbor. And he was also a wizard somehow before he was turned into a fish or something. And also Tweedledee and Tweedledum, who was, in the first volume, were basically her enemies. And she says, well, we can overlook that if you will marry us both. And she says, I'll be honest with you both. I think the goldfish has a better chance than you two. Who decided I need to get married anyway? Does every queen need a king? I'm doing just fine without one. And then, well, it was all the cherries that I said, Cheshire Cat. And he is all behind it, but he was banished. But somehow he was not really banished because he was all behind it. You're finding all these suitors, right? And basically he's a master manipulator. He's manipulating Alice again. And she says, how many times do I have to banish you from Wonderland? I want you out of here now. And she also says, thanking you. You're not welcome here. And do you honestly think any of these suitors would make a good husband? Not with that attitude like yours. No, I don't. I don't know who would make a good husband for you. I brought you an ostrich, a tiger, a goldfish, and a pair of twins. But nothing is good enough for the Queen of Hearts, it seems. Very smug. I just want you to be happy. Is that a crime? Is that something I should banish for? And but then it turns a little bit here. It comes a little bit of a small twist. She says, I do that because you've been deceiving me my entire life so that I would never confront you about mother. I thought, mother? Did I miss something? And then he says, well, your mother, may she rest in peace, would have wanted you to be happy too. You're marrying any one of these fine gentlemen would have given her so much joy. And then you see him changing. She's getting angrier and angrier. He says, how dare you? It's true. She always wanted you to be happy. It's not what I meant, and you know it. It's time you're acting child. I know you're acting childish. It's time to grow up. Time to fall in love. Time to get married. So I cannot like my mother did. Your mother enjoyed a wonderful life. I took great care of her. And it wasn't easy when she grew ill. There were plenty of late evenings. Yes, they were in your workshop as well. I saw what you did. So a little bit of context here. In the real world, because this is all in her head, by the way, Alice saw her mother, her dead mother, her teeth getting removed by her dad, who is a dentist, making a quick buck of the corpse of her mother. Yeah, it has some dark themes, although you wouldn't say it, if you read a comic like this, right? And you say, it's some goofy characters with some goofy humor and some, stuff like that. But it has extremely dark themes, especially the last one, when I think, it's all up for interpretation. But we get to that. So he's changing. So this, I believe it's all in her head, seeing the Cheshire Cat as, the evil person, the bad guy, her dad. I said, well, you must admit, your mother has lovely teeth. That's not my fault, is it? Now, let's not tell stories. That was a long time ago. You were a little girl then. Your mind played tricks on you when you're that age. Who knows what you really saw? But I can assure you that I loved your mother very much. And of course, she loved you. She would have wanted you to get married. That much I know. And somewhere deep in that silly head of yours, you know it too. I know this is my life and it's all I have left. So she's fully enraged almost. And she says, it appears this is your home now. Like it or not? Well, I do like it, or at least I thought I did. And then all her friends are, what? You did? You were unhappy here? How is that possible? And then these weird creatures are so fickle. They for her and against her in just seconds, right? So they all come thinking, well, maybe you should get married, and says, yeah, it's time to get a husband. And Sir Ostrich seems nice in his own way. Did you see how long his legs were? And then she storms off and she says, I won't consider it. I'm the Queen of Hearts and I won't consider it at all. I won't. Now, this is interesting because in I believe the first or the second issue, the one before these, she said that she doesn't want to be the Queen of Hearts. Now, I believe we see some kind of a transformation here, that all these weird creatures, all these weird things, and all this stuff that's happening in front of her, it seems so weird to her and odd, that she's getting angrier and angrier and, more desperate, and she's maybe turning into something that she doesn't want to be, right? And all right, so she's crying in her bedroom, and then Sir Toad comes in, and then she says, hey, I need a moment. And she says, I'm the Queen of Wonderland, the Queen of Hearts, but my heart is so empty. I feel so alone. I miss my family. So Toad says, well, we're your family. But she says, yeah, I know, and I love it here, but she misses her sister Edith, her cats, etc. And then we go to the real world. Well, Edith, the sister, goes to this doctor, that operated on Alice's brain. And he's also another weird, quirky character that shows no remorse for whatever he's done in the past. And so Edith has talked to him earlier, and she makes pleading with him to make her whole again. So he says, I planted the seeds on the foreside of the pot. I gave them plenty of water and sunshine, and look how they have blossomed. But the roots have yet to fill an entire container. So what if I dig the tea kettle lid into the soil and only water the other side? The roots will no longer be effectively hydrated. I suppose they wither like everything you touch. The flowers would wither and die, but only if I didn't water them. But the roots can't reach the water. It's incredible. Even in prison, you still find ways to torture beautiful things. Look at this face. A scientist must experiment, Edith. The roots will still detect moisture and recognize that water is nearby. Yeah, like placing food out of reach of a starving man. It's cruel. Very. So he says, it's hopeless then. Alice will essentially wither away. Well, he says, I believe the brain is a maze, a beautiful maze. If these flowers want to drink the water, the roots must find a way around the kettle lid. My failed operation effectively cut off the pathways that Alice's brain used to travel. The surgery didn't destroy her mind. It simply created a rather nasty roadblock where one thought connected to another. So she says, how do I need to make those connections? So he says, well, that her flowers needs water to survive, so it will find a way around the lid. Alice's mind needs to find a new pathway to get out of the maze she's in. But then he says, well, maybe she is happy the way she is. Maybe she's just fine, right? And going back to Alice in her mind, and so she says, please tell me Cheshire Cat has left the castle. But then, I don't know, what's his name? What kind of species is he? Walrus guy. Says, she just said that her suitors are still in the chambers and they won't go away because they need an answer. And she says, wait, what? Can we just give him a basket of fruit and send him on the way? I'm afraid that being the queen means that you're essentially the fruit basket in most cases. And also, he says, the court decided you need to get married. Wonderland requires you to find a king. Do you fancy either of them? And then she's storming off and she says, the fruit basket returns. I really like that sentence. So she's really going at it. And she says, I have bad news. And what more like, I want you to get out of here. I'm not gonna marry any of you. Get out. And so the suitors are going away. And she says, well, if you change your mind, I will come back. And she says, out. All right. And then her friends look at that like, what are you doing? You can't make me get married. I'm the Queen of Hearts. So she's still arguing, but these guys doesn't listen. Everyone is crazy here. Well, yeah. So she slams off, and we have some goofy stuff around here that she's maybe being all right, right? She needs to cool off, and then she, well, does this, right? So Walrus Guy comes in with Fox Guy, I believe Walrus Guy, and she says, Alice, dear, is everything okay? And she's eating and eating. Well, look at this big guy. Pig, a pig in the kitchen. Well, that raises some questions. And she says, well, I made up my mind. I hope you're happy. It's important that you all are happy, right? Happy is good. I like happy. So who are you have chosen to be your king? And she says, if I must get married, I choose to marry the White Rabbit. Someone find me the White Rabbit. So she calls, he immediately, appears. I heard you getting married, Alice. I came as quickly as I could. So she says, hey, I'm going to marry you because, I don't know, she has some kind of a connection with him and trusts him. Oh, well, that's impossible. It wouldn't be right. I simply can't. Do you don't want to marry me? But it's a bit more complicated. But then she is not feeling well. And then someone call a doctor. And then I can help. I'm a great helper. And, well, it happens in the real world too. And she's puking. Now, from the first issue of this volume 2, I predicted it, what's going to happen, and it's, if you can read it through the lines, you probably can see what's happening here. So, sister's being smug here. And he says, I'm here for my daughter, father to the rescue. Look, these people are all crazy, man. She just vomited again. I can see that. Give me a moment here. Just as I suspected. Just that weird, crazy grin on his face. So basically, it's confirmed that she's pregnant, right? And she's with child. But in volume 1, she finds another crazy guy that she's, I believe, not sure if they are intimate, but they are taking pills and liking each other, So they have a thing. But now they are suggesting that we don't know who is the father, and, suggesting that maybe other people could do it, like Theodore and Thomas, those terrible twins. They certainly had an unhealthy affection for her. I mean, it could be anyone. So if the good crazy guy who's dead, unfortunately, spoiler, isn't the father, does that mean she's being physically abused by people in the crazy loony bin building? Are you suggesting that she maybe has been, the R words that I cannot pronounce? I cannot pronounce it, but, YouTube algorithms and all that stuff. So, like I said, it's pretty dark stuff that they are suggesting here. Because, well, Alice, she's brain damaged. She doesn't know anything. So, yeah. This is a very weird book, and I like it. I like the weird angle, and all these people are just, not unforgivable evil, but they act like they are normal and having fun. This guy's smiling all the time, just like the doctor, in prison. This guy here, it's just, hey, yeah, I did brain surgery on your sister, and then, yeah, I don't have any quarrels with that. So, guys, let me know in the comments what you think about this. I think this is a fun comic. It's the same as Volume 2. It has the same tone. Sorry, Volume 1. It has the same tone, the same, atmosphere, the same kind of art. I think it's fun. All right, guys. That's why, that's the end of the video. Let me know in the comments. See you later. Bye-bye.